Very cool. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome back to Astronomy Daily Live. So, took a little uh, hiatus yesterday, but am back. Had a completely uneventful trip, and there and back again in one whole day. And yeah, it was completely a non-event. Had to go pick up a piece of equipment. Didn't want it shipped. It was relatively close, so we just got in the car and drove up there and got it. So yeah. So drove near the very large array. Um, of course, didn't see it. It was probably, I don't know. It's about 30 or 40 miles uh, um, west of where we were, or so. But didn't see it. But saw the turn off and everything, and it's like, oh, I want to go. So yeah. Other than that, completely uneventful. Really glad to be back. It's always nice to get back from those kinds of things. I'm not that much of a traveler. You know, this will do me really well for years and years and years. So yeah, welcome everybody. Glad everybody can come in. I just noticed that Tim Robinson pops onto the panel. Hey, what's going on over there? Oh yeah, yeah. It is 2:02 a.m. for this crazy guy. Yeah. I can see the circles under your eyes there. Yeah. Well, hope everybody's well over there, Tim. Glad you could pop in. So very good. Cheers. And we've also got Tom on the panel. Hey there, Tom. What's happening?
Hey, Cosmic. Hey, everybody. Not too much. There is a little bit of spacecraft news and some launch news we can go over later if you have time.
Cool. Yes. And that just reminded me that the last live stream you had mentioned that, and I completely forgot. So make sure just to jump in and do it, because I'm not going to remember things like that all the time. But yeah. Let's definitely let's do that right after we say howdy to Bobby. Hey.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Hey, Tim, why are you not speaking?
Tim is mute and backwards. That's all.
Yeah. Okay, well, it's gonna hit the hay. Then Jill's posted a video. Then Matt went live. Being still up would have been rude of me to not say hello at least.
Very cool. Very cool. Nice. Yeah. Well, hope everybody's doing well. It looks like maybe tomorrow night here it's going to be clear. So there's I would say right now there's sort of a 50-50 chance that I'm going to be observing. Yeah, won't really know for sure until the afternoon here. So somewhere around like 0 hours UTC or so, I'll have already made a decision, because that's 5 p.m. here locally.
Because life is in the bedroom to his left, coughing like crazy.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, be there for her. That's all that you can do. It's all you can do. And yeah. Well, hope she's feeling better, at least slowly. So that's never any fun. So for sure, I'm absolutely blessed with extremely good health. So have never had any kind of.
Thank goodness I got my blue shot in November.
Ah, okay, good, good, good. Yeah, yeah. I, you know, knock on wood, right? I've always been extremely healthy, even colds and flus. You know, a cold, I'll have one kind of bad day, which really isn't all that bad.
I
Um,
think the least I can have is pretty much a science infection.
hmm, yeah, I've never had any, you know, kind of serious infections or haven't broken anything. I've sprained a lot of
The
things, but
last
that's
time I got sick of the flu and stuff, I actually took some Dayquil and Nyquil, and that really helped.
nice, nice. Yeah, you know, usually when I get sick and yeah, I mean, you know, it's occasional cold, right? I usually don't do anything at all. I just, you know, let the body do its thing. I sort of, you know, trust the body, you know, to you know, to sort of know what to do. And, you know, those symptoms that, you know, we always try to suppress, those are actually really, really important, you know, to heal up quickly. So, you know, if you suppress all those things, it just seems to take longer, you know, to heal up. You know, as miserable as a fever is and all that, you know, you don't want a fever to be too high and you don't want it to go too long, right? And our bodies, you know, can do that, right? You know, they can go, you know, absolutely crazy, right? But you know, to have a
I
fever for a
heard
few days,
Mucinex is usually the best and stuff like that.
okay, yeah. I always you know, suggest, you know, don't do anything at all. Just suffer through it and but you know, sometimes that isn't the best way of doing things, you know, because like I said, you know, our bodies you know, they can sort of, you know, get away with them and you know, make things actually worse. So you know, you sort of have to, you know, moderate that. But I think, you know, way too many of us, you know, jump for that bottle really, really, really fast, you know, to get rid of the symptoms. And it's the symptoms that actually, uh, you know, um, help us heal. So you know, you got to have that fever. That's sort of the best thing, you know, to kill a virus. You just don't want it for too long or too high, right? You know, if it gets out of hand, then you sort of have to, you know, do something. But yeah, I've been I, I guess just really, really, really lucky to just be, um, you know, pretty healthy, right? Yeah, you know, because that's you know, those kinds of things don't last, right? Nothing lasts. Yeah, you know, I'm definitely expecting, you know, those kinds of things, you know, to pop up. But so far, so good. I wish that on everyone, right? I wish, you know, that we could all just have, you know, sort of an occasional cold or something, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
I think
When I
that's
get sick as a kid, I usually take like antibiotics, or I got sick while I was at school.
hmm,
I actually, my doctor prescribed me some of those, like the steroid type medicine, so it can really can move the process faster.
gotcha. Well, you know, whatever works, whatever works. You know, we're all different too. You know, what works for one, you know, might not work, you know, for somebody else. You know, definitely find your groove when it comes to healing, and you know, do what you got to do. Do what you got to do for sure. All right. Well,
Yeah,
cool.
Rob said paracetamol for him cool. It will cool the blood.
Hmm. Interesting. Interesting. Cools the blood, huh? Yes, and of course a little bit of this. Absolutely, absolutely. That, yeah, yeah. Like I said, whatever works. Um, uh, that's 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 my thing. So yeah. Well, very very cool. Very very cool. Yeah, and I'm pretty rarely sick too, and when I am, it's usually really, really mild, right? I mean, I get over a cold in a day or two. I get over a flu, you know, maybe a day or two, and that's it. But
You must have got a you must have a good quality immune system for that. I would never would think about that.
yeah, well, and I don't really get out all that much uh, either. So I don't really have a lot of contact, right? But I don't know. Even when I did have a lot of contact, I didn't really get sick. So, yeah, yeah, just one of those lucky things that I definitely consider myself extremely lucky because looking around, there's a lot of people who are really 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 sick, and suffering, and just not having a good time at all. That definitely makes me sad, right? The thing that makes me the most sad is to see somebody that isn't having a good time. Um, so yeah, I sure wish more of us could be well, but yeah, that's just how it goes, I guess. You got to do your best. So it's kind of interesting, though. Uh, at least in my experience, cats and dogs and stuff, they tend to not get really really sick either. So I mean, when they do get sick, they get really really sick though. But for the most part,
Usually
um,
it's like when a dog or dog or cat gets sick, they usually vomit and stuff, or maybe eat some grass.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, well, cool. I thought what I would do today is, and before I forget, lest I forget, let's talk about spacecraft and whatnot. Tom, what you got?
Well, a few days ago, Iran launched a rocket into space. They were going to send up some kind of a satellite. I don't know exactly what it was. They didn't really say much about it, but apparently the first and second stages worked fine. The third stage, something malfunctioned, and satellite didn't get to the orbit they needed, so mission didn't work. Now, what I just saw today with one of our spacecraft, the Hubble Space Telescope, they had a problem with one of the cameras. It had stopped functioning Tuesday, and I guess they basically figured out all they needed to do was do a hardware reset, and it seems to be back in order. Yeah, something must have, who knows if, gamma particles hit it wrong, or
Wow.
they really don't know what went wrong. But
Yeah.
when I had first heard the story, someone had said Hubble was offline. And I thought, oh, that's terrible. But it turns out it was just one of the 4 main instruments that wasn't working. So not as bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was with pick 3, right? The main picture taker.
It's the wide field camera, number 3.
Yeah, yeah.
Infrared and UV imager.
Yeah, right. So that's really funny, right? For sort of the second time in almost as many months, right? It's like, they encountered this problem and they turned it off, turned it on, and it worked. So, wow, that's I wonder what's going on with that. That's for that to happen once with the it was the
Gyros.
yeah, was it the gyros or was it, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, the last one was something with navigation, right? So I think that
Yeah.
was a gyro. Right.
And they cycled power. You know, they turned it off, they turned it on, and it worked. And wow, the same thing with this. That's a little weird, I think. I don't know. I don't know.
And what's also stinks is you can't just repair the Hubble at all. There's no missions to it.
Yeah, not anymore. Not anymore. So yeah, the last service mission to the HST was 2009, and I don't think that anyone is equipped to do it now at all. Right.
What can replace the space shuttle so that we can repair the Hubble?
Well, you don't necessarily need a shuttle, right? You just need something manned, something maneuverable, and something that can carry some stuff, right? I mean, if they have to replace, pieces of equipment and stuff, you've got to have a way, of getting it up there. So the shuttle, was really convenient because it had, this big bay, right? Put stuff in. What are you doing? But that's gone now.
What about like boosting it up and stuff? What can actually replace the shuttle then?
Nothing right now. Yeah, I mean, what they could do probably relatively easily, and I put that in quotes, right, is send something up there to actually boost its orbit, because the orbit is decaying, right? I mean, it's in a low Earth orbit, relatively low. It is subject to drag, and it is decaying, right? I think it's pretty slow, right? I don't think it's a huge deal. But actually doing a servicing mission, I think that's possible, but not within 2 or 3 or 5 years or something. It's what do you think, Tom?
No, right now there's no launch vehicle that could get astronauts to it to do servicing and get them back. We don't have anything,
and it's probably out of the question to do any kind of robotic thing. That's probably way too hard.
That would probably take a lot longer to develop. That's probably the best solution, but it's probably many years down the road before they could have something that would actually work.
Yeah.
And I read one of the scientists talk about Hubble's current issue. He said that once this is working, they expect Hubble will be performing for many years to come. He even said something to the effect that he felt it would still be working when James Webb is launched, but that's a tough question because nobody knows for sure about James Webb anymore.
Yeah. Well, and something is going on with HST, right? I mean, like I said, this is sort of the second time that they've had to, turn something off and turn something back on. So I mean, it's showing its age, right? So yeah. Well, here's hoping.
Space Gremlins.
Space Gremlins. Yep, that's what it's got to be. It's what it's got to be for sure. But yeah, well, let's hope. That's why James Webb, right, is a great next step. But I'm still really in favor of let's put up a whole bunch of smaller telescopes up there, or just a bunch of HSTs, right? Have 10 of them or 100 of them. Put some telescopes on the moon. I think that'd be great, right? I
think that's a good idea. You could get away from all the radio interference from everything else.
atmospheric too.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that is the primary advantage of putting telescopes out in space, is that you get above this nasty atmosphere, which even using adaptive optics, that's a very limited use, right? I think eventually we'll be able to do much more with adaptive optics, but right now that technology only works for a very, very, very narrow field of view, arc seconds in size. And like I said, that technology is evolving, so we should be able to widen that a little bit, but yeah, the atmosphere, and it's so sad, right? You think of these photons, right? That are coming from some galaxy or some star, right? Hundreds of light years away, millions of light years away, billions of light years away, right? And they're just trucking, right? They're just going, right in a nice straight line, right? And in the last few nanoseconds of that path, it gets completely diverted, right? Just and it's like, oh man. So yeah, the best bet right now, and probably for a while, is to do space-based telescopes. And it doesn't really matter if it's in orbit, or on some moon or a planet or anything. Is pretty much, as long as there isn't any air, you're going to do really, really well. So yeah, why we only have one space telescope is completely bewildering to me. I mean, this is an absolute fact, right? That defense departments have multiple telescopes at least that size. Right, at least that size, probably larger, right? That aren't looking up or out, right? They're looking down, right? And so, well, that's what the priorities are. Much rather look down, to make sure, that the bad guys aren't doing something really, really bad.
We do have those other two telescopes, though, that aren't the same as Hubble, right? We've got Spitzer and Chandra.
True.
They're still working, but they're on their last legs too, I would think. They're getting pretty old.
Yeah. Well, and actually, that's one of the other advantages of being in space, is that you aren't wavelength limited, right? When you get to the ground, looking in the X-ray, impossible, right? Looking in the ultraviolet, can't do it. A lot of the infrared
gets absorbed too, doesn't it? Yeah.
Quite a bit of it does, yeah. There are some bands, right, that get through, but yeah, for the most part, the infrared can't do it. Radio, absolutely. Radio, it doesn't really matter. What would be great about a radio telescope on the far side of the moon, as Tom said, is that it is radio quiet, right? There's no earth noise at all. We just have the noise from the universe. However, and I don't know if all of the Apollo astronauts reported this, or if it was just one or some, but when they were on the far side of the moon, they reported some kind of radio noise, which I don't think that they...
a song. They claimed that they heard music too.
Something like that, yeah. So it's
some ghostly kind of music.
Yeah, so it's like, what what is that all about, right? I mean, I would love to know. And if it's music, it's like, well, what kind?
Can't see little green men playing harps.
I don't know. So yeah, you know,
I
that
want to know if Apollo 18 was a thing. Even
Apollo
though I
8,
saw the movie and stuff.
Apollo 18.
Yeah.
Never heard of that one. You know, the last one that at least I know of was 17. So what have you heard about Apollo 18, Bobby?
Yeah, I heard like there was like a mission that said that the Russians went to the moon and they got some alien crap and stuff that killed them and it definitely killed the astronauts as well.
Huh. Interesting.
Not
Interesting.
sure if it's true or not. Even though I saw the movie, did some research saying it might be real, may not be what you do to think. Usually
Yeah.
I just wonder if that's in the same vein as Paul McCartney dying and being replaced.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, you know, I think the original Apollo program, they had it planned out to something like Apollo 25, right? Or something like that. Is that right?
They had quite a few more missions that were working on, but yeah, they canceled them all because of budgetary constraints.
Yeah. Well, you know, there is definitely, you know, some value going back to the moon. I mean, if nothing else, you know, commercial value, right? You know, tourism and all of that, and you know, it's a great resource, right? I mean, it's a nice jumping off point, and you know, there's lots and lots of stuff there. So you know, but now, you know, the motivation for exploration is probably pretty small, right? You know, with things like, you know, the lunar reconnaissance orbiter, which you know can get extremely high resolution pictures of the ground. You know, is there really a point in landing? Probably not. You know, except to do it. And you know, since at least the United States has, it's like, well, you know, I can sort of understand, you know, wanting, you know, some kind of a bigger motivation, you know, than just to go, right? So, you know, that's sort of what the Chinese are doing now. It's like, well, you know, we just want to go, and don't exactly know what their motivations are, but I am completely in favor of, you know, whatever they want to do. I think it's great.
Ron from Earth Radio. Ron, did I Skype?
I think you broke up there a little bit, Bobby. Didn't hear you.
Oh, I'd like to welcome Earth Radio in the chat. I want to ask Ron if you ever got my Skype message.
Okay. Hey there, ERRT Radio. Nice to see you in the chat. So yeah. I also heard something. You know, there were all these reports about you know, some seeds sprouting and growing on the moon, and you know, they had pictures and all that, and then Laktuala, she came on and tweeted, you know, the fact that no, you know, the pictures that are being shown are actually the control seeds back in the lab, you know, in China, and you know, the seeds and everything, you know, that are actually on the moon did actually sprout, but then they froze. So yeah, you know, I don't know what story is what, right? This is where, you know, discernment comes in, right? I mean, you know, when you hear a piece of news, you know, be skeptical, you know, be open-minded,
Bugger it.
be curious and all that, but you know, be discerning. So you know, it's kind of hard to tell exactly what's going on there. I can sort of believe, and I actually haven't looked, but I thought that when the Chinese landed, they sort of timed it such that they would have, you know, from new moon to full moon in the light, right? You know, the sun would be out, you know, for the next 2 weeks. And if Emily is right, then it must have gone into darkness already. So that's why I say, you know, I think we have to be a little, you know, discerning about this, because I'm getting sort of mixed pieces of information there. Don't exactly know what's going on, but you know, if they sprouted and all of that, I guess that's a little okay. I mean, as long as they have the right environment, they're going to sprout, right? I mean, and you know, sunlight. Yeah. Sunlight from you know, the sun to the moon is exactly the same brightness as it is on the Earth, right? Because the distance is the same. So you know, the amount of sunlight hasn't changed. I think as long as they have, you know, I mean, seeds don't even need soil to sprout, right? They just need some moisture.
Moisture and nutrients.
Yeah, well, you know, to grow, they need nutrients. To sprout, they don't.
Well,
yeah. But
light.
I would think that they would probably need air, right? But they don't even need light to sprout, right? I mean, when I make my sprouts, right, those are done in darkness, right? It's only after they sprout, you know, we put them in the sunlight, you know, to green them up a little bit. So really, I think for yeah, you know, to sprout seeds, it's all you really need is moisture and probably air, right? Probably air. But you don't need dirt. You don't need light. So, you know, is that really a big deal? You know, they sprouted some seeds on the moon. I don't know. You know, I don't think we have enough information, right? We really don't know what they're up to. But I think they had a few other things up there too. They had some kind of larvae or something, and something else too. I wish we could cooperate a lot more, right? Because then we'd know a little bit more, and you know, someday. All right. Well, cheers to that. So,
And
any other space news?
Chris Elliott just mentioned about you being on right now.
Oh, cool. All right, cool. Yeah, Chris is a good guy. Definitely check him out. He's over at Elliott-Astro
Imaging.
Imaging, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Cool.
was just there before.
Elliott Astro Imaging.
Nice. Yeah, he's doing some good stuff, and he's you know, he's sort of going after the, you know, sort of the non-standard targets too. You know, everybody goes after the Orion Nebula, the Andromeda Galaxy and stuff, and that's fine. You know, that's absolutely fantastic. You know, but he's trying to go for, you know, lots of other things. You know, some comets, you know, some other kind of nebulae, all of that. So yeah. It's really fun, you know, to keep an eye on, you know, that kind of progress and stuff, and you know, you can you know, watch him live, you know, with all the successes and all the failures and everything else, and you know, that's how it is, right? You know, I mean, it's progress is usually, you know, slow and steady. So so cool. Hey there, Uncle Bill. Let's see, life sciences and low G. Yeah, okay, right. Very, very true, very true. And yeah, you know, the moon is what, about a sixth of the gravity of the Earth or so. So yeah, kind of interesting. That's a good point. That's a good point, right? What are these sprouts, seeds going to do in 1/6 of a G, right? You know, do they sprout faster? Do they sprout slower? You know, how fast, you know, do they actually grow? All of that. So yeah, that's a good point. Thank you, Uncle Bill. You always keep us on point. All right, cool.
There's one more on the launch scene. The
yeah.
United Launch Alliance has rescheduled that launch for the National Reconnaissance Office. I think it's in a couple days. 2 days and 16 hours. They're going to try and launch that thing again from Vandenberg Air Force Base in California. We'll see what happens. This is the one they've scheduled it many times and haven't had any luck getting it in the air.
So this is a Vandenberg launch, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Some kind of satellite. It's
bad weather?
Classified. What's that?
Was it bad weather?
Yeah, they had bad weather, I think, a couple times. Something else happened, too. They had a hydrogen, they detected a hydrogen leak or something on one of them, but...
That's no good.
Yeah. So I think it's been... I think they originally wanted this to go in September. So it's been pushed out quite a bit.
Sounds like, yeah, you know, since it's coming out of Vandenberg, that's probably like a polar launch then. So that's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. I wonder what time is that happening? What's the UT time?
It's January 19th at 1905 UTC.
1905 UTC. Okay. All right. So I gotta.
So that's the afternoon here.
Yeah. That puts me right in the middle of the day. So yeah, I'm not going to see it. There's a slight chance, you know, that I can actually see, you know, the Vandenberg launches from my location. I haven't personally confirmed that, but somebody relatively near me has claimed, you know, to have seen at least one of the launches. So I'm kind of anxious, you know, to see if I can see one of those. I've never actually seen a real rocket launch. We have quite a few launches out of White Sands, which is to my east. But they're all, you know, just, you know, they go up and come down, it's not quite the same, right? They basically, you know, just look like an airplane, you know, the vapor trail. It's really cool, right? But it's not quite the same, not quite the same. So yeah, hopefully one of these days I'll be able to see a rocket launch. Anybody here has ever seen a rocket launch?
The only thing I've ever launched is this little thing.
Well, now, okay, so how many of us have actually done model rocket launches?
I blew up a few of those, yeah.
Okay, yeah, those are great.
Firework style rockets, huh?
Almost.
Yeah, I sometimes shoot firework rockets out of my trouser legs. That's about as far as I got.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But really, no, a real rocket launch, no. I've never been to either California or Florida. The first I would went is usually in Mississippi or Texas.
Cool. Very cool. Yeah. Well, they're talking about having some kind of a launch complex in South Texas, right? Is that right? You might be relatively close to that. So I don't remember exactly where they're planning on that. Maybe like somewhere like around Brownsville or something. I don't remember exactly where those are.
I
So
think the closest, the furthest I went to Texas is usually in Beaumont.
okay, gotcha. All right, well, cool. Let's see what else. I think so. I think that's it as far as space launches, at least for now, right? The any word on any new Chinese launches or anything? Because they were going at a pretty good pace, right?
There's a lot of conspiracy theorists saying that this latest one is a fake, as usual.
Mm-hmm.
Really? I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, I saw it on a YouTube channel earlier on, saying it's fake and fake photography and all that sort of crap.
Oh.
It's, those things. What's that, Bobby?
The Chinese launches?
Yeah. The one on the far side of the moon, yeah. I can't remember what channel I saw it on now. Or just browsing.
It's always possible, right? It's always possible. Pretty unlikely, though. It's not really a big deal, I don't think, to get to the moon. That's not really a big deal. So, there's always going to be those who are...
Sorry, Tom, I didn't mean to butt in on you there. Sorry to you for butting in there while I said that.
Yeah.
That's interesting, actually. But I was going to say that JAXA, the Japanese Space Administration, has a launch scheduled 22 hours from now. Looks like it's some experimental microsats and CubeSats and a demonstration satellite.
Sweet.
Don't know too much. Well, yeah. And nice. I think India has another one scheduled in about a week, and so that's about all I've seen on the list.
Nice. Yeah, it's just going to get more and more.
If an average software-defined receiver will be able to catch a CubeSat or something like that.
I guess it depends on the transmitting power, right? I mean, those, if you're talking about low Earth orbit, right? I mean, they're only going to be, when a CubeSat is straight overhead, it's only going to be, maybe a couple of 100 miles up, right? So in theory, that's not very far, for any kind of radio stuff. So I guess it would depend on, the power of the transmitter, and of course your ability, to receive. So I would think that would be possible. I'm not quite sure, like what the ham sats. I don't know what they transmit at in terms of power and stuff. It can't be very much, though.
Like Jill's for sure, he's been hitting those amateur radio satellites for sure, especially with the ORCOM and stuff too.
Yeah. So yeah, I would think the CubeSats might be able to put out enough power, to be able to be seen and heard. Yeah.
Those CubeSats that you speak of, are those the tiny satellites that were supposed to be released? Multiples of them to act as kind of an array.
Yeah, these CubeSats are sort of the thing right now, in terms of like smaller groups wanting to put up all kinds of experimental things, right? At least the CubeSats that I'm aware of, that they sort of have a standard size. It's called 1U, and 1U is 10 centimeters on a side. So that's that size.
I really love how they did the insight blending and stuff with the CubeSats.
Yeah. Well, and those were slightly larger CubeSats, right? I think those were like 6U, so 6 of those, that size. And yeah, Marco A and Marco B actually used as relay satellites. So this is the first time that they ever used CubeSats that far away, and they worked really, really, really well. And in fact, at least the last time I checked, which was about a week ago or so, the Deep Space Network is still actually communicating with those CubeSats. So I don't quite know what they're doing with those things now, because both of those CubeSats basically just did a flyby of Mars, right? So they're still going out. They're definitely not going fast enough, to escape the solar system or anything. So they're going around the sun. But I sort of wonder, if the JPL Horizons website has like an ephemeris for Marco A and Marco B. Let me pull that up here and let's find out. But yeah, these CubeSats, as sort of the basic building block size is this 1U size, and then you can have 2U, 3U, 10U. I mean, I assume as big as you want. But I think a lot of them are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. And with something that size, you can actually put quite a bit of stuff in there, right? In fact, and I always forget the name of this group, but there's a group that is actually going to be launching a telescope. I think it's like I don't remember what size it is. It's not tiny. It's not huge. Excuse me, but this is going to be a telescope that you're actually going to be able to buy time on.
And the Fraser Cain one.
I think he was talking about it. Yes. Yeah. I don't remember what the name of the organization was, but it was actually really, really affordable. It was like I want to say like $25 for an image. I don't remember if that's correct or not, but I think that's absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I never remember the name of that thing though. Uh-oh, we got a doggy alarm. All right, I'm going to share my screen here, and let's go over to the Horizons website and see if Marco A and Marco B is even listed. I've actually already started here, so here, let me go back to where I was. So this is sort of the main site. This is the announcement email list is now available. Oh, cool. I'm going to have to, I'll open up a new thing just to, that'll be nice. But let's just see a different target body here and see if we can list the spacecraft and see if Marco A and Marco B are here. I don't know if they are or not. Medical order, LM. Oh, there they are. Looky there. So let's see. Let's pick Marco A, and we'll just do a. I've got this time, 1 year, going from January 1st. Here, let me zoom in a little bit here and see that. So January 1st, 2019 to January 1st of 2020, 1 day. And I'm going to change this to, oh, yeah, I think observer is actually what I want. So I think that'll be just fine, because I think that'll give us, this thing is being a little bit slow. Yeah, observer table. So, gives like the RA and DEC, probably, the magnitudes and all of that. Let's see. I think we can look at quantities here. All of a sudden, it's deciding to behave really, really slowly. Let's take a look. This site tends to remember, the last time that you visited it. So, yeah, see, so these things are probably too small to actually have visual magnitude, but we'll definitely be able to figure out what the range is, right? How far away it is, and at least where they are. So yeah, let's see. Marco A and Marco B are still a thing, at least according to this. So let's take a look here. See what the ephemeris says. So I always like information too, because they usually give some pretty interesting and useful info on the actual spacecraft. So yeah, it was launched May 5th, 2018, on November 26th. Launched on an Atlas V.
Is that all it was? 13.5
So
kilograms?
yeah, see here, it's yeah. See, and it's by 24 by 8 or by 11. So yeah, this could easily fit on your table, right? And pretty heavy, right? Kind of heavy. Got a lot of stuff in it. Has these really, really cool these antennas, which I'd never seen these before. We can actually, there's probably a, if you haven't seen these, here, let's go over here. Paste and go. Dun, da, da, da. It's going slowly. It's trying. X-band antenna, which I guess is really, really great, for high data rates and all that. So that's not the greatest picture in the world, but this is the antenna here, right? So here's the actual, box, and then, they deploy their solar panels and whatever that thing is, and they deploy their this antenna, which yeah, I don't know anything about these kinds of antennas at all, but it almost looks like a Fresnel lens or something, but maybe for the radio. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, let's see here. So yeah, some thrusters, UHF antenna. So that's the UHF antenna is to talk to InSight, or was talking to InSight, and then the X-band was actually sending all that data live back to Earth.
8 kilobits.
Yeah, 8 kilobits per second, which would that's pretty good. It's not too bad. Oh yeah, and they have cameras on them too. So they actually got some flyby pictures as well. But okay, I'm not seeing any. I'm not seeing any data here though. Well, so yeah, I'm not seeing any ephemeris here. Well, that's kind of a bummer. I wonder why. Let's change this a little bit. Let's go to just a vector table and see if we can at least get a distance. Huh, no info. Horizons error, unexpected results. Huh, I wonder if, let's look at Marco B really quick and see. Maybe it's no go. I don't know. Here's Marco B. I'll
I really
change it.
like the names for Marco A and Marco B.
Yeah. Oh, same thing, huh? So I don't know. Maybe the Horizons website is down. Let's choose another spacecraft like Juno that we know is actually operational and all that. There's actually, as you can see, there's some interesting spacecraft still out there, right? The booster stages from Apollo 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 are still flying out there. They're still out there. I assume that all the other ones are out there too. These just aren't listed. But yeah, let's look for Juno here. Juno. Here's Juno. Let's see if we can get an ephemeris from that. I'll bet you we probably can.
Run them out, button check. Yep,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, so it sort of looks like maybe at least the Horizons website here isn't really paying any attention to those guys anymore. Let's just go over to the Deep Space Network and see what they're actually looking at right now. It's kind of fun to see. Look at that. Here's Marco A and Marco B. So it sure looks like, I mean, they're not communicating right now, but I think this indicates that they are pointed towards Marco A and Marco B. I don't know if there's any info about.
What does the blue and white icons indicate? Like the middle one on the far right hand side is white. Is that shut down or?
Are you talking about like that one?
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, this is just one that that's selected, right? So
sorry.
Yeah. So I think if they're pointed at the spacecraft, then they're sort of lit up, right? If I've actually selected them, then yeah, that's just a selection thing. And of course, if they have these little wavy things, that means there's actual data going up and down. So these two things at Goldstone are actually pointed to Marco A and Marco B right now, but it doesn't look like they're getting any kind of communication. But the big 70 meter there is actually talking to three, well, basically three spacecraft at the same time, right? Mars Odyssey and Mars Express and Mars Reconnaissance. So they're talking to all three at the same time, and actually it looks like there's two receiving and one sending. So let's see, Mars Odyssey is going up and down. That's kind of cool. Mars Express, I guess it's got a, yeah, I don't know exactly how these things operate, but apparently there's communication with Mars here. What's SPP? I don't know what SPP. Oh, the Parker Solar Probe. So right now, Canberra, one of the 35-meter telescopes. These three smaller radio scopes here, I think, are 35-meter telescopes, and then the big ones here are 70-meter telescopes. So yeah, right now we're talking to the Parker Solar Probe out from one of the 35-meter telescopes at Canberra right now. And it's kind of cool. They show a graphic, showing where it's pointed and all of that. There's just a graphic of the spacecraft. I don't think that this is actually like telemetry data or anything. I think it's just a graphic of the thing. But I think that this is actual telemetry, right? Because we can look at the altitude. This angle here, what is about 80 degrees or so, and yeah, it's saying 73. So yeah, that looks like it's about 73, and almost pointed due north. Yeah, see, here's a north, east, south, and west. So pretty windy though. Wow. But it looks like it's receiving data right now. Is that 80 bits per second? Wow. And look at that signal. Negative 159 dBm. That's just insane. That's just insane. But the noise floor for these telescopes is somewhere around like negative 175. So actually, the signal to noise there is really, really good. But I mean, look at that power. It's actually being received. When you look at the transmitted power, there we go, almost 18 kilowatts. So, well, I mean, it's a long way away, right? They actually say here somewhere what the range is, what the distance is, somewhere here. Yeah, 278 million kilometers. So that's like 3 astronomical units. Well, 2 astronomical units away from us. So yeah, pretty far. So they got to pump out a big signal, and I think the dish on the Parker Solar Probe, actually, I don't even know if it has a dish. It probably isn't very big, right? So they got to push a lot of power out there, to get the signal that far out. So let's see, the Mars Odyssey. Let's see what the signal strength there is. See, negative 124. Tons of power there. And, much higher data rates as well. When you get a lot of power, you can push a lot of data through.
What's the kind of degradation rate of a signal at that strength through space?
It's 1 over r squared. So double the distance, you cut the power by 1/4. So yeah, it goes as a square to the distance. The inverse squared is the distance. So yeah, it's and these spacecraft don't really pump out a lot of power, right? They're probably pushing out, Gesundheit.
Bless you, Bobby.
They're probably pushing out.
Don't blow that roof off.
Yeah, tens of watts, right? These spacecraft don't have a lot of power, and they have to run all the instruments, and they have to, all of that. So they're probably transmitting, tens of watts, maybe 100 watts, maybe. yeah, can't be exactly sure about that. But yeah, you know, there's an indication here that, you know, the deep space network is actually still communicating with Marco A and B, just not at the moment. All right. I don't know what GTL is. What's GTL? Geotail. I don't know if I've ever heard of Geotail before. Don't know what that's all about. Sounds interesting.
It's 90% antenna, that one.
Yeah. Well, and solar panel, right? It's just got, you know, these solar panels all the way around it. I don't know what Geotail is. Let's you know, I thoroughly enjoy just following our noses here. So let's find out what Geotail spacecraft is. Maybe we've looked at this before. Observing the Earth's magnetosphere. Cool. Wow. So it was launched in 1992 and is still out there. Active mission. Let's see. So, okay, so
electric fields, magnetic fields, plasmas, energetic particles, and plasma waves.
Yeah, yeah. So, and it's got a pretty eccentric orbit too, right? It looks like it goes from like eight Earth radii out to 210. So, pretty far out there. So cool. It's just looking at the geomagnetic field. I wonder if any of that data is available. Magnetic fields are extremely dynamic and extremely interesting to see. So yeah, we'll have to. I'm going to look into that a little bit and see. So yeah, so right now we're talking to Mars. We're talking to Geotail. We're talking to the Parker Solar Probe, MMS-1. What's MMS-1? MMS-1. I don't know. What is MMS-1? And what's DSS? I don't know what DSS is either. Just some kind of satellite, I guess. That's what it looks like. Not quite sure. It looks like, yeah. I think, you know, I should probably investigate this a little bit. I know that you know, the sort of the characteristics of these waves actually mean something too, right? Like this is just a carrier wave, I think, when it's nice and smooth. And when it's bumpy like this, I think that actually means data, right? And then it can either be coming in and or going out. And this is pretty real time too, right? So you know, pretty cool, you know, to see all this. I think MVN is probably Maven. Yeah, Maven, STF, Spitzer. So yeah, Canberra 70 meter is pointed at Spitzer at the moment, which is one of those space telescopes, of course. I think they look in the infrared. So yeah, well, so Marco A and B are definitely still out there. Don't exactly know what they're doing. We should probably try to find out. My guess is that you know, they're doing stuff with it, but not quite sure exactly what. Should probably investigate that a little bit. Try to find out. I think it's absolutely fabulous, right? You know, that they can put a you know, such a tiny little, you know, CubeSat, you know, this little thing, you know, that can fit on your table, and you know, fling it out at Mars and beyond, right? And those things actually worked. Well, let me go here.
When you consider that you can't get a mobile signal from city to city, yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And yeah, while InSight was actually landing, right? It was the Marco spacecraft that was actually sending, that live data back to Earth. If we wouldn't have had Marco, then we would have had to wait, for hours and hours and hours, to find out, if the thing landed or not. But because of Marco, we were able to get, live telemetry. So, and it worked. It worked perfectly. So it was very, very cool. All right, you guys. Well, I think I'm going to get out of here for now. I'm getting a little low, and that's it's causing a little bit of panic. So
Me too. I need more cider.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So
No,
yeah,
I'm in the here.
so I think I'll get out of here for now. But like I said, I think right now there's a 50% chance that I'll be doing a live stream from outside the OBS session, and but yeah, I'm probably not going to know until tomorrow afternoon here, and then I'll definitely make a definite yes or no by probably about 0 hours UTC, because I've got to take my calibration data right after sunset, which right now is occurring around 0:30 or so. By 0 hours UTC, I will definitely have made a decision. But if it's clear, yeah, I am definitely going to do it. Of working out exactly what I have to do in sort of this new mode where I have to take into account extinction and the actual colors of stars and correct for that. It's something that I was hoping that was avoidable because of sort of how I was doing photometry, but nope, cannot escape the atmosphere. You just can't do it. So yeah, I'm gonna have to. I'm still kind of making plans in terms of what I have to do there, to properly calibrate all of those things. I'm going to have to be observing, some standard stars, as they say, but I'm thinking that I might be able to use what I've already got, because Gaia has now measured sort of the rough colors of all these stars. And so I'm thinking that I might be able to use that information, to calibrate myself there. So still working all that out. Bottom line is that at this point, I think just collecting more data is probably a good thing, and so that is what I'm going to be doing. It's definitely not going to be exciting, right? I'm not going to be looking at anything really interesting or all that. That's for the astrophotographers to do, which they do really well. I'm not doing photography. I'm just collecting photons, right? Wanting to measure positions and brightnesses and colors of all these astronomical objects in a scientifically valid way. And so that's sort of a different approach than the photography stuff. So lots of those things are similar, but the goal is sort of different. And what I'm doing is basically just looking at lots and lots of stars. So don't know how kind of interesting that is for you viewers, but you know, you are very welcome. You know, come along, watch all the shenanigans, all the antics, all the mess ups, and yeah, you know, well, you know, that's real life. So that's what it's all about. And bottom line is that it is lots and lots of fun. And so, you know, definitely come along if you like. You're more than welcome. So, all right, I'm going to get out of here for now. So take care, everybody. Have a great evening, a great day. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell, hit the thumbs up, share this around. Share this around. You know, the crowd here is you know, slowly growing. I don't, you know, that is not really my goal. My goal is just to share the passion, and so that goal was achieved on day one, right? So you know, that is really, you know, the only goal that I had, and I've already achieved it. So yay. You know, from here on out, it's just easy sailing, right? But you know, with all the things that I do, I always like to get better each time. So you know, I'm sort of hoping that you know, slowly, I'm getting better in terms of, you know, you know, this live stream and all of that. So so yeah.
Well, I
Great
enjoy it
fun.
for one. I just want to say thank you for doing it.
Yeah, well, thanks, Tim. Thanks, Tim. And I think it's so cool that we all, you know, can get together here in sort of one place, while, you know, in truth, we're all over the world. And I think it's great. I think it's absolutely fabulous. And I think that we ain't seen nothing yet. I think this, what we're doing now is very likely extremely primitive, extremely, you know, 50 years from now, we're going to look back at this and go, wow, that's just unbelievably lame.
The Internet Archive.
Yeah. All right, everybody, I'm going to get out of here. Take care, and I will see you somewhere tomorrow. Could be here, could be out there. Don't really know yet, but I'll keep you posted, and come on in if you like. You are extremely welcome. So, all right, everybody, take care. Cheers, peace, and all that, and I will see you later. Bye.
Thank you again, guys.